Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and I am joined, as always, by our resident expert. And today we're asking a pretty huge question. What if the reason you're totally exhausted by your personal growth journey? What if it's not because you aren't trying hard enough?
Right. What if it's actually because you're um, moving way too fast for your brain to physically change?
Exactly. We are essentially tearing down this whole idea that self-improvement has to be this frantic, sprint to fix yourself. We're doing a deep dive into Orrie Karim's essay, Walking into Wholeness One Step at a Time.
Yeah, and the core premise of her essay is this really radical shift. She says, wholeness is a direction, not a destination.
Which is huge, because usually we treat self-improvement like a finish line we have to cross by Friday, right? But Karim is telling us to literally just go for a stroll.
And that finish line mentality is dangerous, because when we do that, we end up relying on the exact same hypervigilance that probably caused our burnout in the first place.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Karim actually points out that the fragmented version of you, like the version that survived a chaotic past that version, relied on speed.
Right, to stay safe.
Exactly. You took these massive leaps, processing emotional threats instantly, just to stay one step ahead of the pain. So speed was quite literally a survival mechanism.
I get that, but I mean, if leaping and moving fast is what kept us safe, wouldn't dropping down to a slow stroll feel, I don't know, completely counterintuitive?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like being asked to just take off your armor in the middle of a battlefield. It sounds incredibly vulnerable and honestly a little anticlimactic. Like, where's the dramatic breakthrough we're always promised?
Well, that's the thing. Karim argues that the reality of walking toward wholeness is actually shockingly mundane. It's
Huh.
slow, and it can be profoundly boring.
Boring, really.
Yeah, there's no cinematic montage where you suddenly emerge perfectly healed. Instead, it's built entirely on these tiny micro actions,
Okay, like what kind of microactions?
like noticing your jaw is clenched while reading an email and actively releasing it, or allowing yourself to cry for 5 minutes after years of holding it in, or honestly just saying no to a minor request.
Which sounds simple, but let's look at the friction there. Because you can be practicing those slow, mindful steps, releasing your jaw, breathing, and then out of nowhere, boom, you get triggered.
Right. The old habits shock your system.
Exactly. You react the exact way you did 5 years ago, and in that moment, it feels like you've just slid backward and completely failed.
But here's where Karim reframes that regression entirely. She calls it deepening.
Deepening, I like that.
When you react to an old trigger, you aren't failing. You are just bringing your newly developed awareness to a familiar wound. Progress isn't linear.
Right, it's not a straight line.
From a neurological standpoint, this is actually how you overwrite old programming. You have to activate the old neural pathway, the trigger, while simultaneously introducing the new response, the microaction.
So that's how the brain literally rewires itself. It's like reinforcing a suspension bridge. You can put up all the new steel cables you want, but eventually you have to drive a heavy truck over it to test if those cables will actually hold the weight.
Oh, that is a perfect way to visualize it. Yeah.
So ending up back on that difficult emotional ground, it isn't proof the bridge is broken. It's just the load testing phase of your new coping mechanisms.
That's spot on. Obstacles aren't signs you're going the wrong way. They are the terrain. Your intuition guides you through them. And this is exactly why Karim emphasizes that resting is an absolute necessity during this process.
Right, because we always feel guilty for resting.
We do. But taking 10 minutes to just sit isn't a lapse in productivity. It is a biological mandate for integration.
How so?
Well, when you rest, your autonomic nervous system switches from sympathetic fight or flight mode into parasympathetic rest and digest mode. That physiological shift is what allows your brain to physically process and store the emotional data.
So without the rest, the new steel cables don't actually set.
They don't. Karim even connects this to the ancient spiritual practice of pilgrimage. Pilgrims walked massive distances in faith, moving toward a truth without a guaranteed outcome. The transformation happened in the physical rhythm of walking and resting.
Step, breath, step, breath. So for you listening, this is about trusting the cumulative power of that rhythm. Karim promises that if you take one tiny, boring step daily in a year, you won't be perfect, but you will be in a completely different place.
Absolutely.
So here is your challenge for today. Pick one micro action. Take a 10-minute rest without guilt. Speak one honest truth. Or just notice the tension in your shoulders. Do not judge if it was a success. Just take the step.
And, consider how this changes your environment, too. Walking toward wholeness inherently filters your relationships.
Oh, that's a great point.
When you slow down to an authentic walking pace, the people who demand you heal faster just to make them comfortable, they'll naturally pull ahead and right out of your life.
Which leaves a really provocative thought to mull over today. If you finally drop the sprint and start walking at your own true rhythm, what kind of new people might you meet along the path?